Hello. So, as I said, I'm going to be explaining how solar eclipses and lunar eclipses occur. So, before that, I would like to explain what the delay and all about them. So, I would like to draw the sun, the earth, and the moon. So, we'll take this, and we'll take this. So, this is the moon, and this is the earth. And now we have the moon and we have an earth. And now this is the orbit, and orbits of the earth and the moon are elliptical as opposed to circular. So circular, we have even distributed radius. So we take a circle here and we take a central point and we take a second point on it. So this will be, so over here we have a radius, and this radius will be uniform wherever you take it. So anywhere you take it, this radius will be r and this radius will remain the same. But when you take this, is this side equal to this side? This is not equal to this. So we'll have to take two radiuses, the maxima and the minima, which we might call them. So we'll take this as radius 1 and this is radius 2. So this is the moon and this is the earth. So I'll just write E and M so that it's more easy. So normally we refer to these as mass 1 and mass 2 while talking about that. So I would also like to refer to it as that. So mass 1 and mass 2. And this is the radius. And the radius to this point and this point, the distance between these is normally called the apogee, and this is normally called the perigee. So the apogee is the longer one and the perigee is the shortest part. So this is about 300,000 and this is about 380,000. So that's just, and this is in kilometers. And now I'm going to be explaining that how this would cause the solar eclipses. This was just some basic context. So this is the sun again, this is the moon, and now we have the earth, we have the moon, and now we'll even add a sun over here. This is the sun, this is the moon, and this is the earth. So the sun gives light everywhere, and when the sun gives light, the light is radiated everywhere. So this light, when the moon comes in a straight line with the earth, which comes in the straight line with the sun, so when these three are in straight line, we call this a solar eclipse. If the moon is on the back, so if the moon is here, let's say, instead of there, then we'll be calling this a lunar eclipse. So I'll be discussing solar eclipses here. So this is the moon, and now we'll have the solar eclipse. So the sun will send light here, and what happens is the moon focuses a particular point of light. This causes a shadow over here. So this is all dark and it's known as the umbra. So it's the central part in the solar eclipse, and this will release in total darkness. And the second part over here is spread out, so it's a larger shadow but it's not totally dark. So this is known as the penumbra. So it is not total darkness. So this is quite dark but it's not total darkness. So this you can see in this entire region, you can see the solar eclipse but only partially, and over here you can see it totally. So this point is the total part. And now solar eclipses vary in delay. So over here, first I'm going to be explaining about the delay. So if we're looking at the sun over here, let's take a more central diagram so you can understand better. Let's take the earth over here, and even the earth follows a different type of orbit. So one is a shorter and one is a longer. So over here, and we have a second orbit which is shorter and longer. So here we have the moon, and here we have the moon. So over here, since I explained the gravitation earlier, I'm going to talk about that. So gravitation will be equal for all parts. I'm going to talk more about the gravitation after this. So over here, when this is closer, obviously the shadow that will be formed will be quite larger and it will block the sun totally. So the sun will not be visible. So this is a total eclipse. So this happens when the moon is at its perigee, which is the closest point between the earth and the moon. And when the moon is at its apogee, then what happens is it sends light here and the light is focused, but the sun is mostly covered. It's not totally covered. So we have this part and this part that are visible. It's actually a 3D diagram, so it's visible, and that is the ring around the sun, which we normally see, and this is an annular solar eclipse. This is not a total solar eclipse. These are often confused. I would just like to state the difference between them. We also have a partial solar eclipse in which the moon quickly just passes by the sun and does not cover it completely. So about the gravity that I was talking about, so the gravity of any two masses is given by normally given by this is the earth and this is the moon. So I'm just going to state out the formula first and then I'll explain in detail. So the formula of gravity is F of G equals G, which is the gravitation constant, times m1 times m2 whole by r. So over here, what this means in our context is the force of gravity equals the gravitational constant, that's just a number that we use to find gravity, times the mass of the earth. So this is the mass of the earth, which is approximated to be 6 into 10 to the power 24, and we have the mass of the moon, times the distance between the apogee or perigee or wherever you want it to be. So this is the distance r2 in our context because we're finding it for the apogee. So this is going to be r2 and we're going to divide the whole thing by r2. So I'm just going to give you an approximation of the moon as well. This is 22, 10 to the power 22, and this is not a complete accurate one. For the earth it's actually like 5.9 and likewise. So finally, after a basic approximation of this would be close to the f of g being around 2.0 into 10 to the power 20 newtons. So this is the universal force. So the force between this and this will be an approximation of 2.0 into 10 to the power newton. Let me just be clear, I am just taking an approximation. This is not the actual value. And let us say the value between this is. So we can also assume, because the value over here is going to be the same, and the moon and the earth will have equal gravitational pulls, over here the value will increase because they are much closer. So let's say over here we have 2.0 newtons into 10 to the power 20. So over here we can assume it will be more than that. So this will be, so the radius 1, if we're finding out for radius 1, radius 1's gravity will be greater than radius 2's gravity. That's a very important point to remember. And this is normally only applicable for elliptical orbits. At a circle, every point is equally distributed. So even in the apogee, the earth and the moon, when we're having an apogeal eclipse, this will be longer than on this one. So this happens because of the gravitational thing. Because over here, the speed will be higher than the speed over here. So what happens is, over here the pull is less. So here let's take it to be x, and here it's x plus x by 2, let's say. So this is not accurate, I'm just giving an example. So x plus x by 2 and x. So over here, this is going out, this is going, so this will be much slower. So the centripetal motion will be much slower because the gravity is less. So this will also be less. And over here, since the gravity is higher, the speed will also increase. So the moon just goes around, like it goes slowly over here and then it zooms around the earth and then it goes slowly again. This is also used in many satellite launches. So the satellite is launched and then it's sent and its apogee keeps increasing. And its perigee keeps getting shorter as its apogee increases because that's how circular orbiters go. So that was all about my solar eclipses. Thank you very much.